Hello everyone, Minute Plus Meditation here, Wednesday, September the 7th. From the first reading, 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Now concerning the matters about which you wrote, let each of you lead the life that the Lord has assigned, to which God called you. This is my rule in all the churches. Now concerning virgins, I have no command of the Lord, but I give my opinion as one who by the Lord's mercy is trustworthy. I think that in the view of the impending crisis, it is well for you to remain as you are. Are you bound to a wife? Do not seek to be free. Are you free from a wife? Do not seek a wife. So, and it goes on like this. Paul seems to have been pretty sure that something was going to happen, perhaps the end of the world. Christ was going to return. And, in other words, what we call the second coming was going to occur in his lifetime. So, there's a certain urgency, like a temporal, chronological urgency, not just the spiritual urgency that we have to have all the time as Christians, but a kind of temporal, chronological urgency about the second coming of Jesus. And so he gives this, it's a command, but we have to realize it's not like a divine command. It's not like repeating one of the commandments, but it's what we would call something akin to a guideline, or not even a precept, because he says, if you get married, you don't commit a sin. If you remain a virgin, you do something that is good. I would assume Paul would also say that if you do it for the right reason. So if you do it to avoid responsibility, it's not good. But if you're doing it, to dedicate your life to serving the Lord, preparing for his coming into the world again, helping the poor and so on, Paul would say this is a good thing, and perhaps this must be understood in the proper way, maybe even better than getting married. Not that virginity, a life of perpetual virginity, is better, not that the person is better than the people who are getting married, but the state itself seems, because it images Jesus, who was a virgin, and he was totally dedicated to the Father's will. It is objectively a better calling, but it doesn't make the person better. All right, it doesn't make the person themselves better. Married people can rise very high, actually the fullness of sanctity, and just because you're a consecrated virgin doesn't mean A, you're going to heaven, B, you're going to be really holy. But it's the state here that Paul is getting at, because there's a total availability to the Lord's, to working for the Lord's kingdom, whereas in marriage, of course, there is, you have to be concerned with the well-being of each other, the husband for the wife for the husband, and for the children. Okay, so hopefully that's not confusing, and I'm not giving my little take on things. That's kind of what I've gleaned through my years from the teaching of the church. Okay, to the gospel. Jesus looked up at his disciples and said, "Blessed are you who are poor, for yours is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you who are hungry now, for you will be filled. Blessed are you who weep now, for you will laugh." So this is St. Luke's version of the Beatitudes, and they're framed a little differently, but essentially they both say the same thing from Matthew in the Sermon on the Mount, and from this particular rendering, they say essentially the same thing. I think, first of all, the most important thing about the Beatitudes is how they begin. And they begin the same way. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. If you don't, it's like the first commandment, which is honor, hear, O Israel, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, and all your soul. You shall have no other gods before me. If you don't get that one, the other 9 are just not going to happen. All right, you're just going to go astray like really quick. You have to get the first one. You can't invert the order. We do, but when that happens, it always falls apart. Got to have the first commandment always be the first. It's like first things first. Like I said, I think it was yesterday or the day before. First things first, that's what's really important. And here it is in the Beatitudes, the same basic thing. You have to, blessed are the poor in spirit, those who understand their poverty of spirit, their need for God. If we don't accept this, discover this, open ourselves up to this, eventually it's going to fall apart. So this poverty of spirit is what is absolutely critical, whether you have a lot or a little, you're loaded with talent, or you have few talents or one talent. We all have to acknowledge that we are impoverished. We have a poor spirit before God. We need His grace. We need His help. So today, acknowledge this. Be thankful for the gifts you have. Bless the Lord for them. Tell Him that you want to use them for His honor and glory. But at the same time, admit that you want to be truly poor in spirit. You want to acknowledge how impoverished you are and how everything has come from God, and ultimately everything will be returned to God, and God will require that you and I render an accounting of it. So we want to render a worthy accounting by acknowledge that we are truly poor in spirit and we need Him. God bless you.